There it goes. Okay. Now we're back. Now we're back. Now we're back. And the chat is available. Cool. Let y'all trickle in. Peace, peace, peace. Tap in, tap in. I had the page and now I lost the page. Peace, peace, peace. There it is. There it is. What's going on with y'all? What's going on? I don't know if you heard the last one. Excuse me. I had a cool conversation just a second ago with a good brother. And I was feeling the spirit, so I wanted to speak about I wanted to speak about not forcing the information. So I want to take a second and let you guys trickle in. Our lives are the best of planners, I tell you, man. What's going on? It's going to be a little spiritual today. You know what I mean? We're going to be on the spiritual tip. So if you're not on the spiritual side of things, it's all good. You know what I mean? Come back another time. Tap in again. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna fault you. I mean, you do need to get this spiritual work. You feel me? But I understand some people not ready for that. And this is about not forcing more science on people. Just flipped to this page on an accident, but not on an accident. The spirit of a man is in him. Severity and rigor may create fear, but can never command love. Mix kindness with reproof and reason with authority. This is a chapter, Master and Servant. That wasn't even what I was getting to read into. It's just deep. How y'all doing today? Before I even get started, how y'all doing? Everybody feeling all right? Feeling good? If you ain't feeling good, send some positive energy to you, some love. Tomorrow will be a better day. You know what I mean? Let's see if we can make it through the day. If you are feeling good, spread that love elsewhere. You know what I mean? Man, it was something in particular from the Quran that I wanted to read, but I lost the page when I was setting this thing up. So I'm a rock with it. Oh, there you go. Boom. There we go. Feeling pretty well. Ajamu. Peace. Khalil. Peace. Peace, Tiffany. Peace, Carl. Peace, Lance. Joshua. TABC. God Body. Peace, peace, peace. Art King. And that other person. Kayla's Lifestyle. Black Man. Damon Jones. Think that's everybody we got tapped in here right now. And the people that's in the shadows that just creeping and don't want to say that. I see you too. It's all love. Peace, 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 peace. So this one I really wanted to speak on the idea of not forcing this information. Oh man, that's deep. Okay. Only a fool ducks when knowledge is thrown at him. True. I hear you on that. A person that was really close to me, he taught me that it's the duty of those that know to teach those that don't know. It's the duty of those that know to teach those that don't know. And for those of us who know about Noble Drew Ali, who know about Moorish science and understand about love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, it's our duty to teach those that don't know. And when you think of it like that, if you think of it as a teacher and a student, if the teacher doesn't succeed in teaching the student, you can't berate the student because they didn't get the lesson. You can't down the student. You can't disrespect, demean, attack the student because they didn't grasp the information. And I say that because attacking them won't help them understand. What we can do is be more critical on how we are delivering the message. Maybe figure out a way to be more creative. Maybe to, instead of just thinking about conveying the information, but to put a certain energy in the words that we are conveying so that it has a better chance of getting there on the spiritual side, even if the necessary information, tangible information doesn't get it, the spirit that's in that word gets to the people that we're trying to get it to. And I say that because oftentimes us as Moors, when I say Moors, I mean Moors that are conscious or aware that we're Moors, when we are trying to communicate to our people, our brothers and sisters that think that they're Black, African American, because of the frustration we have in dealing with people that don't want to accept it, we sometimes can put that same toxin, that same poison in the words that we are delivering to the people we're trying to uplift. And that comes when we're trying to force it. We're trying to tell them, in that forceful tone, that forceful energy, no, you are wrong. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And it's not that I don't understand it. Please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. It's not that I don't understand the frustration or that I don't understand that our people are mistaken or that I understand that that mistake is actually harming our people. I understand. We're on the same page. However, because we know we got to get that extra effort, we got to put that extra sauce on it, that extra bit of love on it to heal them and help uplift them. And it's hard. It ain't easy. And that's precisely why you are aware of this information, why we are aware. Because whether we understand it or not, somewhere deep down, we got the strength to be able to shoulder all the frustration, all the constant attacks, people calling you crazy, people doubting you, dismissing what you're saying. It's a particular reason why you are watching this right now, why you are aware of Noble Drew Ali right now. It's not by accident. So it's on us to use that and figure out a way to uplift, not being forceful. Does that make sense? Peace, peace, peace. Hey, peace, guys. No, what's happening with you? What's happening with you, G? Peace, Sarah. I'll go back and read through some of these. Feeling like Randy Moss right now. The teacher will appear when the student is ready. True. I feel Islam has led me to this point in my life, from cleaning myself up to learning and growing as a father, husband, and a man. First, I needed structure, spiritual, now knowledge. True. Peace, 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 peace. Peace, Ramani. Peace, peace, peace. I appreciate the love. Glad it's not. Oh, that's the other thing. I grabbed this book here. Glad I didn't forget. I don't know if you can see it. The 7 Laws of Teaching. I'm gonna read this real quick. I really want, if you can, man, it's by John Milton Gregory. Get this book, real small book, but it's really, man, it's really deep. I'll read this little piece. This little book does not claim to set forth the whole science of education, nor even the whole art of teaching. But if it has succeeded in grouping around the 7 factors, which are present in every instant of true teaching, the leading principles and rules of the teaching art, so that they can be seen in their natural order and relations, and can be methodically learned and used, it has fulfilled the desire of the author. So this book is really, it just breaks down the 7 key elements, the 7 key laws that are required to teach anything. You know, the 7 key factors that are needed in that environment for something to be taught. And I'll read it real quick. To discover the law of any phenomenon, we must subject that phenomenon to a scientific analysis and study its separate parts. If any complete act of teaching be so analyzed, it will be found to contain 7 distinct elements or factors. 2 personal factors, a teacher and a learner. 2 mental factors, a common language or medium of communication. A lesson or truth or art to be communicated. And 3 functional acts or processes, that of the teacher, that of the learner, and a final or finishing process to test and fix the result. And I really wanted to read that to also say, to keep in mind with this, when teaching and sharing information, trying to help our people with this more stuff, that in order for teaching to happen, there has to be a teacher and a student, a learner. So if the person or people you are trying or working to inform or teach or share information with, if they are unwilling to learn, if they do not want to be a student, then teaching can't occur, because that's one of the factors that had to be there. So, you know, you have to be mindful to not force information, and to be mindful to not try to force someone to be a student. You know what I mean? You can't force the information on the student and be forceful with the information, but you also can't force the people to be the student if they don't want to learn, if they don't want to listen and receive what you were trying to communicate. And that's a hard lesson, you know, and I say that personally for myself, because we are aware of how important this information is, or at least let me speak for myself. When I learned this, I was doing too much with it. You know what I mean? But it's because I realized the importance, and it's like, man, I love my people, so it would be wrong for me not to be going hard to make sure that they know this. I wouldn't want them to find out and be like, yo, you knew this whole time you was just finna, what kind of niggas, you know what I mean? I couldn't have that on my heart. I gotta, you know what I mean? If you're really about love, if you're really loving your people, and that's how I was on it. But you have to understand that you can't force everybody to learn, you know what I mean? And you can't also be forceful in what you're teaching or how you're teaching. Peace, peace, peace. That was called the 7 Laws of Teaching, yes. Peace, peace, peace. And I just wanted to highlight something to just kind of for us to think about. I should try to find that story again. But anyways, if you think about Noble Drew Ali, his teachings in his writings, it's never anything that seems to be demeaning towards our people or trying to talk down on the people, at least in what I've seen. Seems more so to help educate and uplift, and it's out of love. And I would just I would ask you to think about why that is. Why do you think, you don't see, why do you think you see Noble Drew Ali saying, end all your radical speeches at work? Why? We are not to cause confusion. Why do you think he said that? It's because that energy, it isn't effective in the goal that we are trying to get to. That's what we got to keep in mind. The goal isn't to prove someone wrong and to prove that we are right and that we know we're Moors and we're not black. That's not the goal. The goal is to love instead of hate, to uplift fallen humanity. That means everybody, even the people that are mistaken and want to hold on to calling ourselves black. Yes, we got to uplift them too. So if you demeaning them, if we are trying to force this information down their throat to the point where they don't even want to hear what Moore's got to say, then are we doing what we're supposed to be doing? You know what I mean? And on a real note, on a spiritual note, when we start looking into the prophets, Prophet Muhammad wasn't forcing this on forcing Islam and forcing the teachings on anyone. Prophet Jesus or Isa wasn't either. Buddha wasn't either. It's a common thread because it doesn't work that way. It just, it's magical like that. You have to do the walk yourself. I mean, you can't force somebody down the path. Everybody got to walk it on their own. And I would think that a person would be more inclined to walk the path if you're saying, hey, man, it's love. Whenever you're ready, there's more positive energy coming from that path than, you know what I'm saying? Like if I'd be like, hey, whoa, take it easy. Take it easy, champ. You wearing that red fezzy thing, you know what I mean? Saying Islam a whole lot. I'm a little nervous. That's looking on the outside in. You know what I mean? We got to put ourselves in other people's shoes. Realize that maybe we should adjust our approach a bit. See if we can do something different. Peace, peace, peace. Baal, I don't demean them, nor do I force the knowledge upon them. I drop it and let them decide on what they want to do with it. True indeed. Man, I was going to close the page again, but it's a story in here. I remember the chapter. It's a story in here where Jesus is teaching the unity of Allah, which I find interesting. Jesus there speaking on the unity of Allah, right? And, he's saying how different nations see a different aspect of God and have different names for God, but it's all the same, the rootless root, the cause is cause, right? At the end of it, it says, when Jesus had said that, he stood aside. The people were amazed, but strove among themselves. Some said he is inspired by Holy Brahm, and others said he is insane, and others said he is obsessed. He speaks as devil speaks. But Jesus tarried not. He didn't wait around. Among the guests was one, a tiller of soil, somebody working, a generous soul, a seeker after truth, somebody that's willing to learn, a student. If somebody say, when a student is ready, the teacher will appear. who loved the words that Jesus spoke, and Jesus went with him and his home abode. So Jesus was at this, he was at this city, sacred city, teaching, whole big old feast, a bunch of people. He got done. Some people was calling him crazy. He's speaking like the devil. He insane. Hey, man. He didn't stay there trying to debate people for an hour and a half. He didn't, man. He didn't say, man, set up the tables. Set up the tables. Let's get this debate going right now. Bring it on. He said, all right, cool. I'm out. Saw the guy working. The dude was actually interested in learning. He was like, yeah, let's go. And it'd be like that. It'd be just as simple as that, man. We ain't got to force it on nobody. Just take our time, step by step, little by little, each one, teach one. And before you know it, you look up and like, man, there's a whole lot of more in here. You know what I mean? Peace. Bam Perkins. This information is on point for me after a blow up yesterday. The life of living among Bible thumpers. Islam. Peace, Melanin. I don't understand why. Oh, let me get to that. I was gonna say the life of living among Bible thumpers. I was gonna say that I can understand maybe your frustration. I didn't spend much time in church, but I visited a church with friends, or like spent the night over my cousin's house, and we had to go to church in the morning. So I done been in a couple scenarios. A grandma, you know what I mean, for the holidays. I know to get down. What I would say is, for me, the angle that I realized that we could approach this from, with people that are really invested in the church or Jesus, is that the book says that this is for all those that love Jesus. You know what I mean? So maybe you could come at it from that angle, or, you can speak about how Noble Drew Ali actually said in his writings that, for those that want to be Christians, it's all good. You know what I mean? That's the right that you have as an American citizen. Freedom of religion. You could go from the angle of asking the Bible thumpers, maybe you shouldn't call them Bible thumpers. That's not necessarily the kindest, term for them. But you could ask them to teach you about Canaan, or teach you about Ruth, the Moabitess, and have them break some of it down to you. And then as they're building on it, then you can say, oh man, there's something in the teachings that I study that connects with that. And then they're like, oh, word? And then what do you know? Now we got a common place of unity. You know what I mean? That's just an option. Boom. I don't understand why people treat it as a cult. It's our history. I don't understand either. It's extremely confusing and frustrating. I don't know. Well, my opinion or my belief on why that it sometimes is being framed as that is because people really don't want so-called black people to understand. Well, I don't say people in general, but there are certain people that have been oppressing us, certain people that have benefited from our ignorance, that do not want us to realize who we are, because that changes so much. And so labeling this as a cult, labeling this as, some religious thing, and it's just like, this Muslim thing, any sort of labeling this as the biggest race traders, that's another major one. labeling it as something that would get black people to reject, to be scared, labeling it as some Freemason organization, anything that would get black people to be like, ugh, I noticed that is put out about this whole situation, um, which is frustrating. I ain't even gonna front to y'all. It's frustrating, but um, I just, at least for myself, I just work to teach. You know what I mean? To the not let people's ignorance stop the information. You know what I mean? So when people try to label this as just the Islam, Moors are just some Muslim thing, then I point out, well, Saint Maurice and Saint Benedict are both two well-known people in history that are acknowledged as Moors and are saints, i.e., on the Christian side of things. So that eliminates, the idea that it's just a Muslim thing. You know what I mean? Um, what's an that Moors are against Kemet or against Africa and against Egypt. And then I point to them, a stolen legacy where it says, that what became Moorish science and what became this Moorish Renaissance in Andalusia and Moorish Spain um, was the sciences that had been preserved and handed down from Kemet. So it is a connection, so, just working to educate people through the misconceptions, which ain't easy though, and it's frustrating. But we gonna get there. Peace, 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 peace. They use spookism like calling it a cult to keep away from you. I embrace the word cult and utilize it as an opportunity to teach. Right, true. Yeah, taking an opportunity to teach is, that's a key thing. Like for me, I've really been getting in touch with Asian culture and specifically Japanese culture. One on the personal side because I'm making music with some Japanese brothers, and it's really amazing taking off. But that's on the kind of selfish side. But beyond that, I've been studying the anime and the cartoons and how to create our own to tell our story. And I've been seeing bonds and seeing connections and using that as an opportunity to teach. I was doing some research and found out that this major game, this is way off topic, but this major game in Japan, is called Othello. It used to be called Reverse Eye, and in 1975 it got changed to Othello, named after, you got it. And it's so trippy because the pieces is black and white and all beyond that. But I hit the producers up in Japan and I said, yo man, do you know about this game called Othello? And he was like, yeah, it's a big game out here. And it just was like, oh, whoa, you know what I mean? So now when I see anime, now that's an opportunity to connect and teach. Or I see a Japanese person, you know what I mean? Now we had the sushi spot, you know what I mean? To try to use all the different opportunities as to getting back to what I was saying, to use opportunities and even moments or even labels or ideas or terms that may be seen as negative, taking that as an opportunity to use alchemy and transmute that thing and teach. That's the key, but that's not, that's easier said than done. Uncle Buzz, you just broke down how to build with those who differ from you by starting from and focusing on a common point. I was reading about Jesus in a book today. It said method of building was exactly what Jesus said. That's deep. Yes. Also, Malcolm was about that same principle, and well, to be specific, El Hajj Malik El Shabazz, who we know as Malcolm X, was about that principle, coming together on a common goal, a common point of unity. Excuse me. And then and his grandson, who was named Malcolm, was the one who taught me about it's the duty of those that know is to teach those that don't know. I seen another question. Do you think the government shutdown is partly due to us Moors proclaiming our nationality? Possible. To be honest though, I just watched this documentary, two documentaries called China Hustle and 0 Days. And 0 Days specifically, but China, both of them actually, it really let me know that there's much more going on behind the scenes that we realize. Even those of us that tend to, feel that we're pretty aware or we understand what's going on. I don't even really want to get into the documentaries too much, but if you watch them, 0 Days and China Hustle, you'll see that it's a lot going on. So I think that maybe it plays a factor, but I think that there's just a lot going on behind the scenes. Notice how we embrace culture and duck cult. True. It's interesting. It's a lot of stuff like that. It's kind of, 0 Days in China Hustle. Yep, that's it. Since we're talking about the cult, can you do a video about young Pharaoh? Boom. Disrespecting Bobby Hemmett and his silly definition of the word more being defined as a fool. This kind of goes to what I'm talking about. I did a video, I think maybe 2 or 3 videos about young Pharaoh, and even in those videos, I was really doing my very best to not put my ego and my feelings and emotions in it, and to remain compassionate and loving, even though he was being super disrespectful, even though, I felt that it was harmful to our people, to still be loving. And it's just difficult to do that when you're going at people. And the brother I was talking with earlier, we were just discussing Minister Farrakhan, and a quality that we both admired is that when he had that rap hip hop summit, when there was a lot of beef going on, I think in the 90s or early 2000s, that when he spoke, he was always speaking with compassion and with kindness and with love towards the people. And I know that, it doesn't help to be harsh like that, to people, especially when they're unwilling to listen, when they're unwilling to be a student. Being harsh isn't going to convince them to now be a student. If anything, the best thing that I or you or we could do for young Pharaoh is to show by example, you know what I mean? And to the point where it's unavoidable and he has to acknowledge, oh man, maybe I was wrong. You know what I mean? And in that moment, if people do come around, we have to be extremely mindful, and we have to do our best to be loving and embracing in that moment and not say, yeah, I told you so, or you know what I mean? We can't, in that moment when people are finally letting their guard down and, you know, trying or being open to learning, we can't then punch them in the face. You know what I mean? You know, because that's part of the ego. That's part of the us wanting to, yeah, but we don't need that. Allah knows that. You know that. And the other person know that. So it don't even need to be said. Really and truly. You know what I mean? But even in saying that's easier said than done. I'm guilty of it myself. So it's something we all got to work on. See, we got to stop arguing with fools. I see, stop arguing with fools. The fool is the soul in the Kabbalah. If I could read something, it says, true wisdom is less presuming than folly. The wise man doubteth often and changes his mind. The fool is obstinate, 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 and doubteth not. The fool knoweth all things but his own ignorance. Then a little bit further says, the pride of emptiness is an abomination, and to talk much is the foolishness of folly. Nevertheless, it is the part of wisdom to hear with patience. So even if you are speaking with someone that you feel or perceive to be a quote-unquote fool, it is the part of wisdom to hear with patience and to pity their absurdity and to not be puffed up in our own conceit. So even in all of that, even if you do recognize this person is talking really ignorant, doesn't know what he's talking about, still don't be too arrogant about what you know. Neither boast of superior understanding, because the clearest human knowledge is but blindness and folly. You know what I mean? So that's just something to keep in mind. You know what I mean? I was just thinking about when we're calling people a fool or, you know, anything like that, just be mindful. And I'm talking to me as well, that they, you know, they may be saying something foolish, but don't become them by doing the same. You know what I mean? And thinking that you know everything, or thinking that your knowledge is just far superior than anyone else's. Peace. Did anyone have any questions? I didn't have much to say. You know, really the whole thing was just about not forcing the information on the people. You know, not forcing more science on the people, and in saying that for us to think about ways of being creative and being more loving. You know what I mean? I know it's like, man, that's why I rock with Yasin Bey. He had this interview and he was like, I know it's corny as it sounds, we gotta love each other. And it's so real, because it's like, sometimes I'm always talking about, you know, love is the key. We need to love each other. And I'm like, man, I know they thinking this is really corny. And you hear love, blah, 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 blah. We just gotta love each other, yeah, mommy. But it really is that way. Like, and I'm saying this from personal experience. You know, where I work, I deal with a lot of people. And when I am extremely loving and compassionate to a complete stranger, they coming at me with rudeness, it's something magical that's transformative about that energy. You know what I mean? It's contagious, and it affects them, and it makes me feel good. You know what I mean? That's the bigger thing, is that if you can teach this and be loving about it, and people get it, it's like, man, that feels really good. You know what I mean? They could be completely rude. And it's like, man, I hear you, brother, but can you just hear my perspective out for a little bit? I promise I'm not trying to hurt you. It's all out of love. And you break it down and they say, man, you know what? I appreciate that, man. I never saw it like that. It's happened to me and I walked away like, man, I feel good. I feel all tingly inside. You know what I mean? um, let's see. Um, question. Watch the video on the Supreme Grand Council. How can we get their attention? It's a great question. Honestly, and this is, you know what's funny? I was watching this archival footage of some Moors in a temple, and they were having this question and answer thing. And this sister, this sister asked the sheik, she said, by chance, would you know where the convention was held in 1937 or whatever the year was, right? It may have been 1954. And he was like, well, sister, I don't know offhand, but we're going to have to get back to you. We're going to, sister, have you asked that before? You asked that last week. And she was like, Islam, she. I was like, oh, man, that's beautiful. You know what I mean? I felt that was like real beautiful because it let me know she's probably asked this more than a couple of times. And he's probably forgot more than a couple of times. But she wasn't aggravated when she asked him. It was no hint of that even in the question. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have known that she had asked him prior unless he said it on the tape. And I say that to say we can do the same thing with the Supreme Grand Council in the sense that, for our Moorish brothers and sisters that are members and they go to a temple meeting every Friday, you can go in there and, if the question and answer period, Islam, I just would like to know if we could talk and have a discussion about the Supreme Grand Council this week. No? Okay, no problem. Next week, Islam, appreciate it. I know we didn't have time last week. I was just wondering, maybe this week we could have, no problem, Islam. And just keep at it, you know what I mean? And just keep bringing it back into discussion. With love, with kindness, not forceful, not mean, but just genuinely and humbly to get to a resolution. Because to clarify, or if I didn't make it clear in the video before, the reason why I want to get this matter settled and clear is because I think it'll alleviate a lot of confusion among everybody and we can move forward. So it's, the goal is for us to help push the movement forward. And it's like, man, we trying to move with 3 flat tires. That's why this road is, you know what I mean? Like, hold on, maybe could we just put it in park for just a second, hit the emergency brake? Let me just, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Or am I off? I know sometimes I'll be rambling. Love is the answer. Yeah, love does conquer all. Hence a silent boycott. Hey, on that note, Stevens, about silent boycott. I was watching this interview of this brother named Ali Sadiq. It's an amazing comedian. Check it out. Actually, I'm gonna do a video. I've been meaning to do a video on it. Amazing brother. Anyway, I don't want to get sidetracked. He was in prison for some time. And he was explaining that during the Million Man March, to be in solidarity with the people, on that day, they did a silent protest and none of the brothers in the prison ate food in the cafeteria. And they all fed each other the entire day. And he was saying that it was an amazing feeling because immediately when they would come out from working or whatever, they would avoid the cafeteria, and they come back to the cells, and they'd be like, "Don't even worry, we got whatever you need. Come on, get something to eat." You know what I mean? For all 3 meals of the day, everybody was taken care of, and that was powerful on multiple levels. But it was a silent boycott in the sense that they didn't have to announce. It was "Rah!" They just said no, thank you. They didn't have to eat. You know what I mean? So um, silent boycotts can be very, very powerful. You know what I mean? Let's see. Oh my goodness. I can speak to this since this is in the chat real quick. I was also talking with my Moorish brother about trolls or people in the chats and the comments that are, specifically there to instigate, agitate, say outlandish things, etc. And I was explaining to him how it's kind of difficult to concentrate and think while you're reading, the trolling comments. And so I kind of understand the frustration that people go through. But even in that, there's a lesson in that really the people that do that are usually needing attention. You know what I mean? They really are lacking attention and not okay with just being to themselves. So they need to make a scene, get noticed, get some energy. So just ignore it. You know what I mean? That's one simple way. And the other thing is really to just address it once and let it be that. You know what I mean? As the wise prophetic little Duval once said, "I'm living my best life. I ain't going back and forth with you." I'm messing around. Let's see. The Nostradamus comment. What's your take on Nostradamus' prediction regarding the return of the Feds in the West? I don't know. I don't know the comment. I think I put it up in a little cupboard, but I did have a Nostradamus book. But I never even got around to studying them. So, I don't know. You know what I mean? On that note, I can, if we're talking about, if I got the book here. Talking about prophecy. Nostradamus, where is it? Let me see if I can find it. Oh, no, I ain't got it. But maybe I'll show it to you next time. Peter Moon. Synchronicity in the Seventh Seal. Yeah. I take it to mean what it says. We wake it up, bro. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah, we wake it up. Yeah, I feel it. I rock with that, pretty much. Any other questions? Oh, that's an interesting. Only wish some people would love people the way I love everyone. Ajamu. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce your name, but I would just say, stop putting your standards on other people. That's where you're going wrong. You cannot put your standards and what you hold yourself up to onto the next person and hold them up to it. It just ain't fair. They are them and you are you. I think that is. Well, no. Any more questions? Let me. Any other questions in general? I want to see. What's your take on unity? It's good. That's a interesting. I don't know what do you mean. My take on it is in terms of, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is unity possible in this lifetime? Does it cost? Do you have to pay for unity? Do we got to go back to Africa? Where are we going with the unity part, man? Help me out. Does anyone have an example of don't force the Moorish science? Yeah, for me, Basil Bay, the way this is an example of me not forcing more science. I'll be in a conversation with somebody and they'll be saying, yeah, and a black dude, oh, and that white dude. And I'll be like, yeah, you know what I mean? And so the European brothers and that European sister, and you know, our dark-skinned brothers and sisters, and I won't even say Moorish brothers. I won't even necessarily just put that out there. I would just avoid using the term black. They hit me with the okie doke. But I was saying, I avoid using the term black and I avoid using the term white. But I'm not aggressive with it. You know what I mean? I don't, as opposed to me saying, hey, bro, don't be calling us black, man. We Moors. I could do that. You know what I mean? I may feel that, but I ain't got to force that on them. I ain't even got to force the word more, because what'll happen, they'll be like, man, why you always say European? What's up with that? And then I'll break it down to them. And that's literally happened time. And it's been like, they'll be like, yeah, man, that Cliff, bro, he always be saying European, bro. I don't know why you do that, bro. And then I'll break it down. They be like, well, damn, yeah, I guess that makes sense, bro. I feel you. And that when people are coming to you and inquisitive and wanting, getting back to the seven laws of teaching, when they are willingly being a student, then you can be the teacher. If you forcing them, trying to force them into class, they probably not gonna be the most willing to learn. You know what I mean? And it's frustrating. That's the thing. You got to be about. It has to be about patience and love, and so that's why. Oh, wait. Let me see if I can find it. That's why, when it comes to us teaching, 1 second, talking about our tongue. When it comes to us teaching, we have to be careful in how we talk. You know what I mean? And how we speak to our people and how we convey this message. And, you know, it's a weird thing. It may seem off kind of weird, but try if you can, when you're teaching, or just try for in a moment or in a situation where you consciously go into the situation and you're thinking, every word that I say, I want it filled with as much love as possible, so that the people hearing me talk, when they hear the words, they feel the love in what I'm saying, and it connect right. Man, disconnected, man. I don't know what's going on, man. I ain't feeling that. But I hope that got through. Let me read this real quick. Man, I ain't read this in a minute, so it just hit me deep. One of the most difficult things in this world is to get control of. One of the most difficult things in this world to get control of is the human tongue. Kipling never wrote anything more truer than when he wrote, "Man may hold any post if only he'll hold his tongue." Before you set your tongue to action, get it under control. A single tongue can do more harm in the world than a battalion of soldiers. For soldiers can kill but bodies, where the tongue can kill reputations and characters. Really, it is too bad that we have no laws to curb tongues from lying and scandalizing. No doubt you have all read the story of Lago in character in one of Shakespeare's plays, when he powerfully pictured in the character of Lago the terrible consequences following the path of an evil tongue. Lago not only destroyed the reputation and pure character of Desdemona, but he finally, through Othello, killed her body. That's why I say, compel your tongue to speak helpful messages, or else keep it still. Make it a rule of your life to use your tongue for high purposes only. Resolve to speak of a woman or a man in no other way unless you speak of good qualities of that man or woman. No one ever gained happiness out of injuring the feelings or character of someone else. And no one ever failed to get happiness by speaking well of other people. Whew. Goodness gracious, man. I don't know. I don't know if I got much to say after that. Yeah, I think I thought that was kind of heavy for me, man. That was kind of heavy. I think we might have to sit on that one. You know what I mean? To make it a rule of your life, to use your tongue for high purposes only. That's a rule of your life now. Resolve to speak of man and woman in no other way unless you speak of good qualities of that man and woman. Come on, man. If we live by that, come on now. Tell me that. How transformative would that be? Know what I mean? So true, the tongue has no bones, but is strong enough to do some serious damage. True. Like a sword. Like a scimitar. Yeah. Man, I think that's it. I don't want to force too much more science on you. Any last questions before I get up out of here? I feel like I covered everything I wanted to say about not forcing. Oh, that was it. Hold on one second. That was it. Chapter 2, 3. There it is. That's what I wanted to do. This is the last thing. When it comes to trying, when you feel, for those of us that feel frustrated, that may know this information, but it's not getting through, and you're like, man, you want to force the information, I go to this point. Men need a pattern for their lives. They love to follow, not to lead. The man who stands upon the corners of the path and points, you know what I'm saying? But does not go. The man who points but does not go is just a pointer. And a block of wood can do that. The teacher treads the way. On every span of ground, he leaves his footprints, meaning the teacher's doing what the teacher's doing. And his footprints are clearly cut, which all can see and be assured that the master went that way. That men comprehend the inner life by what they see and do. And then further down, now you may never point the way and tell the multitudes to do what you have never done, but you must go before and show the way. So at the end of the day, End of the day, whatever we are working to convey, if we're not able to get through with our words and information to teach them that way, then literally demonstrate with your actions. Show and prove. And say, check this out, brother, so I can show you what I'm talking about. Let's go to City Hall together. Let's just ask some questions together. And then you sit back and I'll ask and you just listen. And then we can learn together and literally show them. Know what I mean? So I hope something I've said has helped somebody out there, or helped to clarify this a little bit. If you are somebody that's watching or is kind of interested in more stuff and you've been feeling off-put, you know what I mean? I hope this will help you reconsider, you know what I mean? Just, for our people, you got to understand it's a bit frustrating to know a lot of this information and you want to teach your own people and they don't want to listen. So, have a little patience with us. We got to work together so we can uplift each other. I think that's it. Much love. Keep shining. Spread love. Because that's the way, man. Even to those that, you may think are your enemy or you call your enemy or they call themselves, they feel it. Even now, spread some love with them too, man. Because regardless of what it may seem like, somewhere deep inside, there's God in there too. So we got to tap into that. You know what I mean? Much love. And that's it.